somehow fashion is really this very mysterious thing that you don't know quite why and how it happens. All of a sudden, every girl, these young girls wear combat boots. Why? All of a sudden, you want pink lipstick. Why? It's not just this huge industry that manufactures things and sell things and advertise things, but it's also this mysterious thing in its desires and aspirations and hopes and somehow fantasy. So there is something called fashion that is very mysterious, and that's what makes it all so interesting. One day I wore one of my little dresses and I sat on a white cube, and a friend of mine took a picture, and then I had the picture and I wrote, "Feel like a woman, wear dress," and I signed it, never thinking of anything, and I ran at, that was my ad, and little did I know that went everywhere, and I went around campaigning with my little bag, showing my little clothes everywhere. For me, everything was new. This country was new. I was discovering this country. It was like the little pioneer, and I was starting life not knowing anything, and I was bringing women all around the country this little dress, and they just embraced it and wore it. And so me, the dress, the women, the moment, the country, everything, it was kind of one big panache. Well, I said, feel like a woman, wear a dress. And I wore the dress, and I went campaigning, and everywhere I went, they wore the dress. And there was something magic. I mean, somehow women wore that dress, and good things happened to them, and so they wore it more. '70s was a great decade because it was somehow the decade between the pill and AIDS, and so it was total freedom, and everything was possible, and everything was light, and there was Studio 54, and there was dancing and playing and enjoying being free and being free with your own sexuality, and so that was wonderful. My little role in fashion was always a little wink from woman to woman. You don't really have to dress like a man to be respected as a man in your job. In the 80s, there was a little bit that feeling that they had to hide behind a suit, and they had to hide in career clothing. That was not really what I felt. I was very lucky because really I was a young girl in my early 20s, and I dressed every woman in America. And so I had time to retire and forget about it. And then one day, all these new generation, my daughter, my daughter-in-law, all these real hip girls, these actresses, were wearing the dresses they would buy in vintage. I realized I had become vintage. And I realized that vintage was hot again. So I figured, all right, I'll try. Everybody wears jeans, and jeans is really a quintessential American product. Somehow what I like about fashion is where sophistication meets the street. Everyone somehow is inspired by the street. Everyone is inspired by the needs and the breathing of the street. And then you interpret it. And so where sophistication and the street meets, and you put the woman in the middle, and somehow you sculpt her with color, with fabric, with print, and you make her feel more confident, and you give her a certain joie de vivre, and then you go.